So I'm going to be doing a key price action analysis on Alibaba stock, teaching you the strategy that I use personally to be up over 100% on the call options today. Let's get right into the strategy. Let's get right into analysis. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Also smash that like button. So in terms of the strategy, Alibaba has a strong history of having these gap close reversals at its key support level. If you study throughout its past history of this particular stock, it tends to bottom 50% from its all-time highs. And right now, it's currently down over 50% from its all-time highs. Set that key oversold level, a great level to go back throughout the chart history for this particular stock. As I had stated, it tends to bottom out towards that 50% range. To go back throughout its chart history, look for some oversold gaps and play for the reversals. So what it is that I'm talking about, how I was able to nail this trade, I did end up giving you this alert for free. If you go to my YouTube community page, I had stated, 6 hours ago, literally towards market open, that I just bought call options on Alibaba. I'm personally swinging these overnight. I went with the short-term expiration. In terms of the strike, it's going to be $149. I did go out of the money, but this is the strategy. This is what I'm looking for, and I think we're going to explode tomorrow to around $154. I'm going to share with you why I'm walking you through. So I'm looking at throughout its chart history, right? I'm looking for a low oversold gap, and we've previously used this strategy, with validation to make a killing on Alibaba stock. Go back and watch the gap trading series. You'll see me previously use this strategy to make money within this particular stock. But I'm looking at this gap, right? There's a gap to fill right here at 146.79, this previous closing price. Notice how once it gaps down and fills this gap, it bottoms out, forms a nice green candle, and then it explodes the next day, gapping up to 154. And then a couple days later, it goes all the way to 160, right? So it bottomed at that key support, that key gap close reversal level, right? So keep this red line in mind. So I'm looking at Alibaba stock, and I'm seeing, when this gaps down, when this crashes, it has some nice short-term reversals. And what we do is we're able to catch the bottom of those short-term reversals using this unique gap strategy that I've created, right? So in terms of what I'm looking at, I'm saying, okay, on Friday, my price alert triggers. It filled that gap that I showed you throughout its chart history. And there's a gap that's waiting to fill above at 151.19. So why not buy this on Friday, play for the gap to fill? We didn't get a bullish confirmation. There was no reason to buy. It was a bearish red candle on the one-day candlestick. Now, in terms of early price action, this was actually supposed to be a day trade for the moment, but it ends up turning into a swing trade. And I'm going to explain to you why. So I'm looking at the pre-market. We got this new gap that's waiting to fill right here at $145.08, right? So the stock, there's a gap to fill at 145.08. It cracks in the pre-market, forms a bullish doji, great trend reversal confirmation candlestick there. In terms of its, more short-term 1-minute chart price action, in terms of buying this, it was right around once I noticed that it had turned that previous closing price, that newly formed gap, into support. And when you see that happen, it's going to start to explode up. And then it's going to start to fill that gap that was waiting to fill, and history is going to repeat itself at 151.19. And then notice how once it nearly fills that gap, it has a reversal, right? But we have a very bullish candlestick on the 1-day chart, and I still think this has the potential to blast off towards that gap fill level at 151, and then head into the 154 resistance level, which is where I'm planning to take profits into a gap up tomorrow. That is what it is that I'm looking for, right? So we'll have to see. I bought the call options literally at 145 range. Once I noticed that previous closing price, that key new gap fill level, had turned into support. And we also have very solid, very strong support with huge upside potential to fill that gap above there. So those are some of the basics in terms of the strategy and what it is that I was looking for. I will say it did form some resistance at this gap fill level. So we could see a red day. I won't be shocked if it's a red day, but I'm already up a little bit over 100% on the calls. But I think we're going to have another nice green day tomorrow. And I think we're going to see 154s, which is where my profit target is going to be to sell towards that resistance level for this, short-term trade. But yeah, that's kind of the basics of the strategies. That is what it is that I wanted to walk you through in some of the basics. Make sure, and in terms of like explosion for tomorrow, like it looks great. It closed this gap. It's closed strong. You have this nice green candle coming in. It should have a gap up tomorrow. If not, then I'll sell for, just take less of a profit. I'll still be green because it's not going to have some sort of massive gap down in my opinion. And I bought the call options when it was at 140, where is it, like 145s, like low 145s, right? So that's my thoughts on it. That's my analysis for the short term. See how it reacts towards 154. Reacts to its resistance. Going to look to take profits off there. If 151 reacts as resistance tomorrow morning, then I'm going to look to sell off there, as it should be heading back to 145 if that were to happen. That's my thoughts. That's my analysis on it. Make sure you guys go back and watch my playlist on the gap trading series if you really want to get a better understanding of how this strategy works. We've been consistently using it on Baba to profit within the market. And yeah, guys, I'll see you at the next one. If you think about it, like, that trade took that gap was in 2019. Like, no one's really doing that. No one's setting price alerts that far back, right? I'll set one here as well if I haven't already. Towards there, maybe that gap will fill someday, right? That trade took over 2 years to develop. Same with my previous trade on Alibaba, where I bought it here and then it gapped up 100%, and then we sold the next day. And then same thing right here, where I bought it here, gapped up 100%, sold the next day. In terms of those gap up 100%, those were the call options out of money, to in the money. Yeah. So that's my analysis. That's my thoughts on it, guys. Just wanted to walk you through what it is that I look for in terms of charts. So yeah.